Alright, welcome to Shop Talk episode 2. Tonight we will be going over top ends, doing top end rebuilds on your two strokes. So I've mainly done them on Polaris and Skidoo 800s and Polaris 700s as well. Before we get started, wanted to make a few announcements. We're over on TikTok. Things are going well over on TikTok. We had a video from the weekend get a lot of views. We're almost at 10,000 views on the third video that is from the top on my TikTok. So if you guys could go over, go to LCS_MN on TikTok and go check it out. That'd be awesome. Let's get it to 10,000 views and let's get it higher. I'd love to see that. As I've stated in the video following up to that on my TikTok account, I want to do snowmobiling for a living. Ever since I was 15 years old, I had a dream of Link Custom Solutions, and from that day forward, not a day has gone by that I've dreamt about doing snowmobiling for a living, and I really hope that we can get there, and I think that we can, and I won't stop until I make snowmobiling a living. I think about it every day, and it's what I want to do. So yeah, go check out the video. It's really cool. Got a puppy and a snowmobile. Go check it out. It's my buddy and his neighbor's dog on the snowmobile. So go check it out. Let's get it to 10,000 views. Let's get it higher than that. My goal's been 10,000. We're almost there, and let's get it there. A couple other announcements. I work full time. I am a full-time college student, so I work 40 hours a week, go to school full-time, and I work on my business, Link Custom Solutions. I work on that in my spare time as much as I can. I've been uploading at least one video a week since December. Since then, it's been 2 videos a week. I did miss Sunday. I was quite busy on Sunday. We came home from the cabin, and I didn't film it all over the weekend, just basically because it was the same thing we'd done the weekend before. We just caught some fish, did a little riding on the lake. The trails are closed. St. Croix County's open, but that's not good riding. We want to have good riding. I don't want to tear up the machines. So we're waiting on a little bit more snow to hit the trails. So that's why there hasn't been any footage of the weekend and there wasn't an upload on Sunday. I'll try to get 2 out this week, but for sure we'll have 1 out this week as you're watching this. So like I said, I'm a full-time college student, I work full-time, so I do my best, but there probably will be some times I do miss 1 upload. I'll probably never miss 2 uploads a week. I'd like to do more than 2 uploads a week, but at this point in time it's pretty hard. But there will for sure always be 1 a week, if not 2, maybe more when I have some time. But like I said, we're active on TikTok just about every day, and we got some videos getting some really good views, so go over, check them out. Let's get the views higher and higher on TikTok. And yeah, because I'd really love to make a living snowmobiling and 4-wheeling, and I hope every one of you are along for the ride. Let's do it together. So like I said, tonight we are talking about top end kits. Or rebuilding your top end, getting top end kits, rebuilding your top end. Last night I was working on some schoolwork and a buddy called me. He's called me a couple times recently. He's had one of his friends working on a 2006 Polaris, and he's had a whole bunch of questions about rebuilding the top end and procedures on it. and it kind of sparked my idea for doing a little bit of a video on it. So where I wanted to really start was ring end gap. When you're doing a top end on a two-stroke, whether it's a four-wheeler, snowmobile, or any other two-stroke that you're rebuilding, ring end gap is so crucial. And a lot of people overlook it, a lot of people don't do it, and wonder why in 1,000 miles or so they have a broken piston and a destroyed top end. And you look around on most sleds, if you're doing cylinders and pistons, you're at least spending $700 to $1,000, maybe even more on a top end. So you really want to make sure that you're doing things correctly. So let's start with ring end gap. And I'll throw some pictures up and some diagrams that I find in the video. They'll probably be right around here. So, but anyways, ring end gap. It's very important because if your ring end gap is not correct, you'll either be losing compression or worse, you'll be blowing it up, because when the rings expand and they don't have proper room to expand, they will break the ring land and destroy your cylinder, destroy the piston, destroy that $1,000 top end you just put in your sled. So the way you check that is you get, you grab your rings, grab your piston, and the cylinder that piston and those set of rings are going in. Take the piston, turn it upside down, and then take your first ring, put it in the cylinder, take your piston, drop it down in there, get the ring flush, and take a set of feeler gauges, put them between the rings, and make sure that there's proper clearance. Now your kit that you get should say in your instructions what the ring end gap should be. I know on some Polarises, they call for nothing less than 0.004 of gap between the rings. If you have less than 0.004 of tolerance between the ring gaps, you're going to have problems. I know that's on some, but really go by what the kit tells you it should be. So, like I said, you take the piston, turn it upside down, check your first ring. Your first ring is good, set it aside. Take your next ring, do the same thing, take the piston, turn it upside down, get the ring flush in the top of the cylinder. Check the next ring, that ring's good, set it aside, set that piston aside. Install those rings on that piston, keep it with that cylinder, because it needs to stay with that cylinder then, now that you've checked it with that cylinder. Check your next side, do the same thing, turn your piston upside down, install the ring, turn your piston upside down, check that gap. Now say your tolerances are out of what they should be. Then you can take a piece of sandpaper or a file and just take a little bit off the ring gap and make sure you have proper clearance. Once you know that they're all good, you can install those pistons and those rings within that cylinder that you check them in, and don't mix them up. Keep them with where you've checked them. If you got your proper tolerances, it'll be much more reliable. And you shouldn't have ringland issues with the piston breaking. So it's very important. A lot of people overlook it. Always, always, always check your ring end gap. Another thing I wanted to say is Skidoo, on Skidoo, BRP, Rotax, on their engines, the older ones, I think some of the 800Rs too, not sure about the E-Techs, but I know some P-Techs, the SDIs, their 700s, 800s, maybe even some of their 600s, they had cageless needle bearings. So if you were doing a top end on a Skidoo, to my knowledge, at least before 2010, and you know that that motor's not been opened up before, it's stock from the factory, always, you should always do this anyways, but always, always, always put a rag down around the cylinder, the bottom end so you do not drop any of those cageless needle bearings down in the bottom of the crankcase. If you do, it's a bad time. And then the kit you install, I would always make sure it has a caged wrist pin bearing. Much easier to rebuild, much better design. Always, while doing a top end, make sure you have a caged bearing for the wrist pin. I'm not sure about the E-Techs. I've never rebuilt an E-Tech. And I know the 850s have caged bearings. But if you're doing a rebuild on a Skidoo, just be aware that there could be needle bearings that pop out and drop down. So that's why you always, no matter what you are doing, make sure you put a rag around the rod and cover the crankcase so you do not drop any needle bearings down in there. Also, big recommendation of mine, if you are buying a kit that is not from the manufacturer, Polaris, Skidoo, Arctic, whatever, if it's an aftermarket kit like MCB, Wassner pistons, Wisco, try to make sure they have OE gaskets or OE quality gaskets, head gaskets, base gaskets, exhaust valves. Try to stick with OE gaskets as much as you can, or OE kits as much as you can too. For me, when I do my Skidoos, I do an MCB kit with MCB pistons because I like installing dual ring kits on my 800Rs. It's more reliable, and I like that kit a lot. And I think they use BRP gaskets. If they don't, they're very, 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 very close to BRP quality gaskets. And usually with MCB's kits and other kits for Skidoos, they will come with different size base gaskets depending on what elevation you're at. Mountain guys will have different base gaskets, so it should come with 3 gaskets. Your instructions from MCB will tell you which gasket to use on the base gasket of the cylinders. When you're doing head gaskets, make sure you're installing the head gaskets correctly. They're not twisted. I like to put Vaseline around the rubber head gasket. It makes it stay in place. Don't put a lot on, just a little bit to help it stay in place. Also, to backpedal a little bit, with installing rings, you can install piston rings the wrong way. Right, there should be writing on the top of the ring. The writing always faces up, and I'll insert pictures of what a correctly installed piston ring looks like. Always, always, always install them correctly. If you do not, it will not run or it will blow up. Another question that my buddy had asked me while doing, helping his buddy rebuild it. A lot of guys like to grab a die grinder with a little whizzy wheel on there and grind away the gasket on the base gaskets and whatnot. Never do that. Never. Some guys do and they're completely fine. I don't like it. It puts peaks and valleys in the deck of the base gasket, or the sealing surface where the cylinder sits on the base of the crankcase. I never do it. I grab a rag and brake cleaner, scrub it with brake cleaner. As soon as it's all saturated, I'll grab a razor blade and lightly remove the gasket, being very careful not to scratch the decking. Try to stay away from a whizzy wheel. Not a good idea. I usually pre-mix my rebuilds for a couple 100 miles at least, 50-1 in the tank with your oil injection. And then usually for 1,000 miles, I'll run it around 90 or 100-1 in the tank with your oil injection. Another thing, always use assembly lube. Can never use too much. The worst you'll do is fall out a plug. My latest 800R motor I did, drenched everything in oil. Pistons, the rings, the cylinders, wrist pin bearings, the wrist pin, the end of the rod. Always make sure you're using assembly lube. Just regular 2-stroke oil is fine. Some guys like to use mineral oil, that's fine too. I use usually synthetic 2-stroke oil while assembling. While you're in there, check your rod bearing play. Up and down, bad. If you got any up and down play in your rod bearings, you're tearing down the bottom end. Side to side is okay. A little bit of side to side is okay. Up and down, very bad. You gotta rebuild the bottom end as well. And check your bottom end out as much as you can. Try to get a look at the crank bearings, get a look at your rods, and do as good as inspection as you can. You're putting $1,000, anywhere from $500 to $1,000, on your top end. Make sure your bottom end's good, because if you blow your bottom end, it can take your brand new top end out with it too. So I always check that as much as I can too. So like I said, I've done Skidoo 800Rs, Players Pro R800s, Edge 700s. I haven't got into the Articats too much, so I can't speak a lot on rebuilding Suzuki Articat engines or the C-Techs. I haven't been in them much or know much about them. But yeah, so I know I kind of went through that fast. I didn't want to make it a very long video, but I just wanted to go over my biggest tips and tricks for doing top ends. It's easy. You guys can do it yourself. I am not a certified mechanic. I've just been around sleds my whole life and always been working on them. Me and my father have taught each other so much about riding sleds and working on sleds. So we taught each other. He's taught me a lot and I've taught him a lot. And basically, I didn't go to school for it or nothing. I've just got a lot of experience doing so. So you can take what I say, you can take it with a grain of sand or a grain of salt or whatnot. But in my experience, these are the best tips and tricks. Always check ring end gap. Always make sure you're installing your rings correctly. And check over as much as you can. You're putting a lot of money into your sled, and you should make sure it's all good. But yeah. So I don't have any big rebuild projects coming up, but I figured I've been getting these questions from my buddies a lot, and I wanted to share them with you. So that is all that I have for Shop Talk at the moment. This will be episode 2. Please stick around, guys. Please subscribe. We're in it for the long haul here. So I'll do my best to keep you guys updated on YouTube, and always have daily uploads on TikTok for the most part. And you can check out Instagram and Facebook as well. Like, comment down below, subscribe. Really, really appreciate it. Not doing anything this weekend here. We're gonna stay home, wait for some more snow hopefully, and get out and ride. As far as the Sportsman, we should be working on that here in a little bit too. The XRS project is put away for the moment until we get done with the Sportsman. I'm thinking in the next couple days I'm gonna have a review of the 2008 800R MXZ that I have. We'll also do a review on my 2015 Axis. Those will be coming out. I don't have them filmed yet, but I should be filming at least one of them this week. What else? 850 Sportsman's put away for the year. We're just waiting on some snow. So as always, if you guys have any questions, comments, let me know down below. Can always email me at Link Custom Solutions for questions or any business inquiries. Can always email me at linkcustomsolutions@gmail.com. TikTok again is LCS_MN. Facebook at Link Custom Solutions, and Instagram at Link Custom Solutions. And yeah, it's been Shop Talk, guys. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you in the next one.